high capacity, low recoil, and armor penetrating, the FN P90 is an excellent choice of firearm for gamers and bodyguards when engaging in close quarters battle. But when you are participating in a battle royale involving 100 players with varying terrain, is the P90 really the best choice? Why would LAN choose to use the P90 over any other gun? Well, that's what we're here to find out. The FN P90 was the product of a NATO request in the 1990s for a lightweight, compact, shoulder-fired firearm to replace the 9mm service weapons used by NATO service members. Specifically, the requirements for the new firearm and its cartridge were the ability to defeat body armor while outperforming the 9x19mm Parabellum cartridge. This personal defense weapon, or PDW, was meant to provide a means of personal protection for rear echelon troops. The common underlying theory was that the PDW was developed as a response to Soviet paratroopers being issued body armor, and that support personnel behind the front lines needed a weapon that could engage these armored targets. While this theory is credible, it is difficult to verify its veracity given that NATO documents relating to the PDW trials remain difficult to access. Two companies responded to the NATO request for a new cartridge, FN Herstal and Heckler & Co. FN was the first to respond with the 5.7x28mm cartridge and the FN P90. Heckler & Co. offered the 4.6x30mm cartridge along with the MP7, which is a video for another day. The SS190 5.7x28mm cartridge offered by FN features a whole host of improvements over the 9x19mm Parabellum. A 5.7 round weighs about half as much as a 9mm round and also produces roughly 30% less recoil. Due to the 5.7mm round's high velocity, the trajectory of the bullet is also exceptionally flat, making for much easier shooting. The round is capable of penetrating a level 3A Kevlar vest at a range of 200 meters, whereas conventional 9mm rounds would have been stopped by the Kevlar vest. The corresponding firearm, the P90, is a bullpup weapon featuring an incredibly ergonomic design. The bullpup design allowed the weapon to possess a longer barrel while reducing overall length, resulting in a compact firearm that does not compromise weapon performance. The extensive use of polymers in its construction also resulted in reduced weight, making the P90 extremely short and lightweight, perfect for keeping it on hand without obstructing or weighing down its user. The P90 comes with a 50-round top-loaded magazine that uses a unique horizontally mounted feeding system, likely inspired by the HKG-11, allowing it to sit flush with the weapon and carry more ammunition. The P90 is fully ambidextrous and ejects downwards, enabling users to shoot from either shoulder without any ejected brass obscuring their sightline. Notable users of the P90 include the United States Secret Service and Muammar Gaddafi's forces during the Libyan civil war. Despite the P90 being designed as a defensive weapon, it has found use in offensive roles by special forces and counter-terrorist units globally due to its easily concealable design, high magazine capacity, rate of fire, and soft armor penetrating capabilities. LAN uses a standard unmodified P90 in all pink with the built-in reflex sight and a 4-port flash hider from either CMMG or B&T. This is notably an older model P90, as newer models tend to come with a birdcage flash hider and side-mounted Picatinny rails. In the episode 10-Minute Massacre, LAN mounts a GSL P90 suppressor for use to ambush enemies while hiding in tall grass. LAN also encounters another player using the 5.7mm cartridge, Clarence, who utilizes an AR-57 and AR-15 modified to fire 5.7 rounds from P90 magazines. She promptly steals her magazines to rearm herself after exhausting her own ammunition. Back in the real world, LAN owns an Airsoft P90 AEG, which can be seen hung on a stand in her apartment with its safety plug attached to the barrel. Now, back to the main question at hand. Why does LAN use the P90 in a battle royale when a more versatile weapon would have been a better pick? Those of you who have played GoldenEye 007 on the N64 might have an inkling of what I'm about to say, but for the uninitiated, here's a brief overview of GoldenEye. GoldenEye was a first-person 3D shooter based on the James Bond movies released in 1997. It is largely treated as the granddaddy of modern FPS shooters, particularly for multiplayer-focused titles like Call of Duty and Battlefield, as it paved the way for shooters into the home console market. GoldenEye featured a multiplayer deathmatch game mode where players could select from a wide cast of James Bond characters to play as. One character in particular, Oddjob, was frowned upon as he was considerably shorter than the other character models, resulting in players having to manually aim downwards in order to hit him. Picking Oddjob was such a scummy move that even the developers of GoldenEye considered it cheating, since it provides an unfair advantage over selecting the other characters. Bringing this logic back to Lan, having a shorter and smaller model will make it harder to aim and shoot at her, but it doesn't negate the primary disadvantage of the P90, which is its effective range. That's where her other attributes come into play. Prior to joining GGO's Battle Royales, Lan participated in PvP combat in open areas, with her favourite area being in the desert. Her pink uniform is not just for show. While you might think that pink camouflage stands out, especially in forested and urban environments, her pink camouflage actually works very well in the desert, particularly during sunrise and sundown. It is so effective that the British SAS used pink camouflage for a period of time in their affably named Pink Panther Land Rovers for desert operations. Lan not only uses camouflage, but also speed to her advantage. She has packed a ridiculous amount of stat points into her agility, allowing her to move fast and close the distance between her and her target. Just imagine trying to shoot a low, fast-moving target that blends in well with the environment. By closing in on her target at high speed, she can make the best use of her short stature and agility, making it difficult for her target to engage her. The P90, which excels at close quarters combat, can truly shine with her playstyle. The high ammo capacity and rate of fire allows her to shoot more liberally to account for the difficulty of shooting at close range at high speeds, trading aiming accuracy for accuracy by volume of fire. The armor-penetrating capability of the 5.7 cartridge also allows her to be less deliberate about her aim, as she can still do some damage to her enemies, even if they are armored. During the episodes where Lan participates in battle royales, you can see that she primarily utilizes ambush tactics or lightning assaults, putting herself into positions where she can best utilize her small stature and speed. Having the P90 supports this playstyle by allowing her to spray down her targets as she approaches them, while not needing to reload as often as other weapons. Of course, we cannot talk about the P90's other media appearances without talking about the show that popularized the P90, Stargate SG-1. The P90 appears in Stargate in the hands of Earth's SG teams, specialized military teams sent to investigate alien planets via the use of the titular Stargate. Its most iconic appearance is in Season 5, Episode 18, when Colonel O'Neill and Major Carter demonstrate the P90 to a group of alien warriors, with the P90 sawing the target lock in half. The P90 also shows up in the James Bond films, with its debut in Tomorrow Never Dies as a prop in the armory. Later on, in The World Is Not Enough, the villain Renard and his henchmen use the P90 as a high-tech weapon against James Bond, who gets his chance to fire the weapon by looting it off a dead henchman while escaping from a Soviet missile silo. The P90 features more prominently in the previously mentioned GoldenEye game as the RC-P90, which incorrectly holds 80 rounds instead of 50. This was likely a developer error, as 80 in hexadecimal is 0x50. The correct hexadecimal value for 50 would have been 0x32. Enemies in GoldenEye like to dual-wield the RC-P90 for some reason, with villainous Xenia Onatopp dual-wielding the RC-P90 with a grenade launcher on Jungle, and Janus Special Forces reinforcements dual-wielding RC-P90s after Trevelyan escapes in water caverns. The first appearance of the P90 in any media, however, is from a Japanese film called Cat's Eye, which debuted in 1997. It is wielded by soldiers of the King Foundation who promptly get beaten down by the character Black Flag. One of the soldiers wields a striking P90 in white, while the rest of them are in black. Anime appearances of the P90 include Hellsing, Gunslinger Girls, Stella Women's Academy High School Division, and Jormungand. In Hellsing, vampire Jen Valentine wields a pair of heavily modified P90s, resulting in a very distinct silhouette. Part of the stock and handle of the P90 have been cut out and replaced with a pistol grip, making it resemble traditional Uzi-style submachine guns. The guns are suppressed with a hybrid GSL P90 and multi-cal 7.62 suppressor, and come fitted with an AN-PVS-2 Starlight scope on one gun and the Leupold Mark IV scope on the other. The laser sight mounted underneath the suppressor could be a modified Surefire L75 laser, which was a very short laser device for its time. Henrietta from Gunslinger Girl utilizes an unmodified P90 which she carries with her in a violin case, allowing her to covertly move around with her weapon while using her youth as a cover. Her handler, Jose, likely influenced her choice of firearm as his primary firearm is an FN57 pistol, indicating a penchant for FN weapons and the 57mm cartridge. Karila Hatsuse from Stella Women's Academy High School Division uses an airsoft P90 which comes with the 4-port flash hider and side-mounted Picatinny rails. The Picatinny rails are sometimes not visible in certain frames, likely as a result of saving time drawing the weapon. The P90TR, which replaces the integrated reflex sight with a Picatinny rail, appears in Jormungand in the hands of Casper Heckmatier's bodyguards. An EOTech 553 holographic sight is mounted on the top rail with the choice of a Surefire flashlight on one of the side rails. Casper's bodyguards use the P90 to great effect when engaging the Japanese Special Research Unit during a hotel maid in Jakarta. Moving on to gacha games, Girls Frontline 2 recently released Meteor for the CN server, who goes by P90 in the first game. Her P90 in GFL 2 replaces the forward hand stop with a Zenitco RK5 vertical foregrip. As with the previous video, other configurations of her P90, particularly in GFL 1, will be available at the end of the video. D from Goddess of Victory Nikkei uses a heavily customized P90 named Storm Eye with some airsoft inspired components, resulting in a very rectangular P90. The upper receiver is an F190 XF50 tri-rail upper receiver, which has a Trijicon SRS sight mounted on top. The front of the weapon looks to be a mix of the Crytek EMG FN P90 handguard for modular receiver and CYMA Swordfish Strike P90 conversion kit components. And that's it for this video. We have covered the capabilities of the P90 and how it allows Lan to utilize her small stature and speed to her fullest, primarily by ambushing targets and quickly eliminating them. Despite the range disadvantage that her playstyle incurs in a battle royale, she mitigates this by using her incredible speed to close the distance before spraying down her targets, doing damage to them even if they are armored due to the 5.7 cartridge's ability to defeat soft armor. I hope you enjoyed this video. Please subscribe to stay tuned for the next one. We are back with another round of builds for P90, or should I say Meteor, from GFL 2. This time, we will primarily be looking at her P90s from the first game. Her default model uses a P90TR with a Trijicon SRS sight and a Surefire Scout Light mounted on the right side rail. The muzzle device is a 4-port flash hider. For her Scarlet Turbo skin, the flashlight is removed and the Trijicon SRS sight is replaced with an EOTech 553 holographic sight, identifiable by the longer fore-end on the sight. The Girl from Bell skin features a Trijicon MRO sight, streamlined TLR RM1 or 2 rail-mounted weapon light, and a ported flash hider. The angle of both the regular and damaged art makes identifying the accessories a little difficult, so if you do have a better idea for what they could be, please put it down in the comments. Her Phantasmal Vanguard skin is the only model to feature a standard P90 with the integrated reflex sight and a Surefire Mini Scout flashlight. The muzzle device is also a much newer birdcage flash hider compared to the 4-port flash hiders seen on the other P90s.